Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 198 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. Now, we're going to go through a quick intro just to save some time tonight or today. We have Forging 42 episodes where we cover the mental side of our brand. We have our physical vitality episodes where we cover the physical side. We have breaking news episodes where we cover current events, things going on in the world and in the U.S. We have Knight's Table episodes where we cover everything to do with masculinity. And then we also have our guest format as well to round out our 5 formats. 198.
5 top dog formats.
That's right.
And then we also have something else. Sit in the corner here.
Gabel's brother, not my brother, Gabel's brother and our producer, Mitchell Gabel.
What the hell was that? That was a mix-up.
No. He just felt weird saying it because I'm usually
I was trying to mimic
rattled.
you,
but in my own way. It was close.
It was good. It just felt weird.
Yeah, I think Mitchell just felt weird that it was coming from you.
That made me pucker a little bit. I don't know what you want me to say there.
Not my brother. Gabel's brother.
Gabel's brother. That's right.
We are related. It just so happens.
But also sort of my brother.
One particularly more handsome than the other.
Mitch is pretty good looking.
That's right.
That was very nice of you.
Yeah,
I am the more intelligent one, though.
You do like to make that known.
It's opposite day, apparently.
That's the thing. I don't like to make that known at all. I'm like, because I'm not. I'm like, yeah, I'm the dumber brother. Like, shit, sorry.
Mitch?
Yes.
Fact of the day, what you got for us?
Did you know on the Apollo 10 spacecraft, there was an unidentified turd floating around and none of the astronauts took responsibility? Supposedly, this is a true story.
Might be as true as the first moon landing. A floating turd. I mean, that's not a fact of the day.
And you're telling me none of them. Because Apollo 10, who was on that? Was that what year was that flight exactly, Mitchell?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's fair.
But it was supposedly an unidentified
human feces.
Yes, and none of the astronauts took responsibility.
So is that a UFT?
Yeah.
Unidentified flying turd?
Yeah. That is correct.
Hey, man, that was good. That was good. First dad joke. Congratulations. Round of applause for the dad in the room. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. I have arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Fatherhood has joined me.
That was good. That was good. Okay. I don't think that was worthy of a fact of the day, Mitch. So
don't you think that's pretty interesting?
It is.
Like, interesting, no. Funny, yes.
The idea, I would probably be spewing in my astronaut suit, though, if I saw just a turd floating in anti-gravity.
It would cause you to... Oh, spew.
Oh, yeah.
Spew.
Like that. Because I just, I've told you guys my stories with poop. It's just not good.
Okay.
Okay. It's not good.
That's just an insane start to this episode.
I mean, he brought up the fact. I don't have to tell you.
It's a fact. What do you want me to do?
Okay.
What do you want him to do about it?
All right, you two. Goodness gracious. All right. So, as I mentioned, we do have episode 198. Very quickly approaching 200, as I've been saying the last several weeks. We're very excited. We have finalized episode 200. It's going to be freaking awesome.
They probably just thought you were going to drop all the details.
Not at all.
Something like that.
Nope. You guys get no details until...
Like, come on. Come on.
But for 198 and 199, we're going to do a little 2-part series here called Summer Prep Training. Okay, it is right now. Today is April 14th when we are recording. So we really 6 weeks away from Memorial Day, give or take, something like that. And that's kind of the kickoff to the summer, and that sounds kind of far away, but it's also extremely close, so your summer training should already have started.
Hypothetically, March. Or even as early as February for some people.
For sure.
That they start their summer prep.
Kind of depending on your starting point.
For sure.
If you're starting from a heavier standpoint, then it should have started definitely before March. If you're starting from a skinnier standpoint, same thing. But if you're kind of somewhere on the soft edges of those two sides.
In a general body recomp phase, give or take. Yeah.
Exactly.
Then you can, you have a little bit more of a window, so to speak.
Especially if you are a trained person already. You're someone that has been training for X amount of time, but it's a long time. You have a little bit more leeway, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know what to expect. You kind of know how your body responds to certain training, certain food.
10 to 20 pound changes. That
Exactly.
type of stuff. Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is a lot easier after you've done it, once or twice. So we wanted to start for part 1 here. The first and only point that we will go over today. We'll save the rest for part 2. Will kind of be the question: does your training need to change as you are preparing for summer? And there's kind of 2 different answers, kind of 2 different directions that we already laid out here. If you are on the cutting side of things, because most people want to cut down for summer. They want to look good. They want to go to the pool. They want to be at the beach and all
decently
that type of stuff.
visible abs and veins, that type of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Looking good. You're feeling confident, those types of things.
Good shaping on the delts and the traps, that type of stuff, legs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. If you find yourself on that side of things, yes, the training needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not majorly, necessarily.
Not majorly. And we'll get into that in a second, a little bit more in depth here. If you are on the side where you are trying to put on muscle, put on weight, you are bulking, it doesn't really have to change.
Which is, for you, especially skinny guys, is still recommended to be on a general bulk going through summer as well.
For sure.
I mean, if you're, depending on your starting point, again, we talked about, one of my in-person clients as well, who, is on a pretty major gain phase right now. It would make zero sense to continue or to stop that gain phase right now going in this close to summer, because we need to put on muscle mass on him.
Oh, yeah.
Primarily.
It would probably be pretty detrimental.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of trainers that talk about this. Is a pretty common topic right now. The biggest thing is that when we're talking about skinny guys, they've already had the lean enough phase to activate the anabolism that comes with that, which anabolism just means you're more sensitive to muscle gain in general, that type of stuff. So a lean body mass or a lower body fat percentage, especially like that 8 to 12% range, allows you to go into a bulk in a really good spot, for example, because you are at that point in time hypothetically very insulin sensitive. Insulin sensitive just means you digest food better in a very generalized term.
Sure.
That's not really like, I could go down a whole rabbit hole with that one, and I'm not going to just throw out a bunch of scientific terms there necessarily, but insulin sensitive is a good thing, while insulin resistant is not a good thing, which is the people that need to lose the fat, you're probably more insulin resistant. If you're somewhere in the 28+% body fat, probably for a dude, even 25+% body fat, you're looking at a pretty insulin resistant individual there, which processing food is just more difficult. Processing food properly, is more difficult for those individuals. While somebody at that 8 to 12% range at a more insulin resistant phase, which insulin resistance, we go down a rabbit hole again. We will have an eventual episode on that, that basic topic in general. But again, the insulin sensitivity is a good thing because that gain phase is a little bit easier to achieve, which is in this case with this particular client and the skinny guys we're talking about. The gain phase is something you can continue through summer right now, especially in April now, mid-April, and still look really good.
Absolutely.
Summer. Still look really good in a gain phase.
Well, yeah.
And continue to put on a bunch of meat, and you just look more sizable throughout summer.
Right.
And you're really there's not really much definition change, truthfully, at that point in time.
And that's what I was going to say, is it might literally be the first time that someone like that has had legitimate muscle on their body, So as they fill out, as they put on more muscle, they're going to damn, I look good because I look jacked.
100%.
You
go from 140 to 160, it's like a whole different person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
no, literally though, sometimes even 140 to 150 with certain people, and so that's kind of the bulking side of it, very simply. On the cutting side, why does it need to change? Well, number one, the obvious is you need to be in a caloric deficit, okay? It's obviously one of the hot button topics. It's one of the buzzwords, but it's true. It's just a fact of cutting weight and cutting body fat is you have to be in a caloric deficit. Otherwise, you're not going to cut down. It's pretty simple. Okay. Incorporating more cardio is another way to change the training, because that's just an easy way to burn more calories in a day. Now, we've talked about this in the past, the difference as far as burning calories between strength training and cardio is strength training. Not only are you going to burn some calories during the workout, but you will continue burning calories even after the workout. With cardio, whether it's walking, rucking, running, you could even throw HIIT type workouts into this. But we'll keep it to those main three. The walking, the rucking, and the running is you are burning those calories during the session, and that's it. Obviously, there's a little bit of time afterwards because your heart rate is theoretically still high.
That time, by the way, guys, for those of you that don't know, the strength training and the cardio, it's primarily the strength training, what we're just talking about here, guys, is called EPOC. It's post-exercise oxygen consumption, essentially.
There you go.
Which just means all that indicates is that with strength training, there is like an afterburn effect. Now, granted, to a degree, that can be overstated by a lot of people. A lot of people say that like burns hundreds of calories for you or something like that. It is useful along with burning calories, yes,
absolutely,
but it's not as major as people make it out to be.
Yeah, it's not like this huge boost you just get because you did some dumbbell presses.
And hypothetically, the research indicates that strength training has a higher rate of that after the workout, while cardio has a little bit of it, but less of a rate compared to strength training. So,
So that's kind of the very simple breakdown of that. It's incorporating more higher protein meals as well, because that's going to help keep your muscle mass at a good level while you are cutting weight, because it can be very, very easy to lose a bunch of muscle mass while you're cutting if you are only focusing on the cutting the calories portion of that. You still have to maintain a good amount of protein. You still have to maintain a good amount of carbs and fats for that matter. Okay. Now those numbers will decrease some, but the protein is a very important one in order to maintain the muscle mass, because therefore you will continue to burn fat. The more muscle mass you have, the more fat you lose.
Most of the time, most nutrition coaches, they indicate that your protein consumption actually during a fat loss phase should stay still around like the lowest you want to go is like 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. Realistically, you want to be matching probably a gram per pound of body weight.
So if you weigh 200 pounds, you shoot for about 200 grams of protein.
Exactly.
It does not have to be super complex. There will be nutrition coaches, there will be nutrition podcasts, there will be nutrition influencers that try to make themselves sound and look very smart in order to make it like super complex. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Are there certain situations where you do have to very complexly
or intricately,
yes, break down your nutrition? Absolutely, without a doubt. Those situations do exist. And we've talked about those as well. You know, if you're training for a certain event or show or something like that,
or if you have metabolic conditions of some sort.
If you have health related, issues or complications, then of course, you have to get complex with it. But we're talking about the general population here,
right? And again, we could go on for hours if we wanted to very complicate the nutrition conversation. Truthfully,
absolutely,
it could end up being a complex conversation, but again, you keep it general because most people aren't trying to listen to a lecture.
No,
truthfully,
no.
You know what I mean? Like I love sitting through an exercise physiology lecture. It's very interesting to me. Most people don't like that,
right?
So, and we're well aware of that fact.
Yeah.
On last thing I'll add to, on the note of talking about training and how much it changes and whatnot, because Wurtz, guys, obviously he indicated, okay, the training does need to change in that fat loss phase coming up through summer. Now, it does not mean necessarily your strength training has to majorly change.
Sure.
It can. You can incorporate more circuit training, which is just higher intensity training in the gym, for example. But you can also be somebody who, if you're really trying to work on still putting on size during that fat loss phase too, when it comes to muscle size, aka hypertrophy, you can continue to have that hypertrophy training look very similar, but you're going to add in more cardio. That's how your training is going to change.
Right.
You're going to add in more of the walks. You might look at the 60-minute stair stepper session. You might look at the 60-minute incline walk session. It might be a 30 or 45-minute session on one of those things I listed, whether it's a rower or et cetera. Any type of cardio piece of equipment that we're talking about or modality, that is where most of your training will change. While hypothetically, you could keep a lot of your strength training very similar. That goes for athletes, and that also goes for people just chasing in general, wanting to look jacked and good muscle size and whatnot too.
Absolutely.
So,
well, and another good way as far as the cardio goes too, if you're not someone that wants to add an additional hour on the stair step or the incline walk, let's say you're someone that's very disciplined on getting walks in every day. Let's just say you make time for a 20 to 25 minute mile and a half walk every day. Turn that 20 to 25 minute mile and a half walk into a ruck. Get yourself a 15-pound vest. Get yourself a 20-pound or 40-pound vest.
Find a more hilly area.
If you want. And instead of just going for a leisurely walk now, up the intensity a little bit. Try to cut the pace down a bit. I'm not saying you got to turn into a soldier or something like that, but go a little faster, continue to push yourself in that area, and add in weight to it. And then you're not having to cut out any additional time throughout your day. That could be an easy way to do it as well.
And that's the beauty of fitness watches, of phones, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Because you can progressively overload your cardio.
For sure.
You can turn it into a 17-minute pace and go to a 15-minute pace.
Exactly.
For example, which is doable. A lot of you hear that and it's very fast, which you are. I mean, once you get 15 minutes and below on pace, you're hauling.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to walk. You're hauling for sure. I mean, you were talking about the military. They're at like a 12-minute ruck march pace.
Oh yeah,
that's nuts.
It's moving.
That's moving.
You're basically running at that point.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's basically
like half
a
jogging essentially. Yeah,
right.
Which is insane and also badass. But
because they're carrying 100 plus pounds.
Yeah, those guys are. Yeah, they start out with 45, 60 pounds,
Right.
and then they work up much higher.
Right.
But what Wurtz is saying, guys, again, like it's the progressive overload. It applies to literally every form of training.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you might like your leisurely walks and whatnot, turn up the heat a little bit.
Right.
Okay. Go from the 17 to 60 minute pace.
Right.
And that makes a lot of difference. Trust me, it really does. Even if it is you're gaining an extra 25 calories burned or something like that, again, that's going to help with appetite throughout the day as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help with the muscle size as well because you're digesting food better when you're going on walks. It's that insulin sensitivity we talked about earlier in the episode as well because walks help with insulin sensitivity, just like all forms of exercise help with insulin sensitivity for that matter. That digestion means better fat loss or even better muscle gain as well. So it's a beautiful little combo. Basically, exercise just so happens to be a really damn good thing.
Yeah. One actual final note here on the nutrition side. I guess technically two, really quick here. Number one, if you're on the cutting side, this doesn't mean you just start cutting 500 calories. And going into a 500 calorie deficit off the rip.
Yeah, whoa.
Start at 150 to 200.
Whoa.
Okay? So you cut out the one little snack. You start there. And then you give yourself some time to acclimate to that. And then you bump that maybe to 300. And if you want to get to the 500 point, you can. You're pushing it a bit. I'm not saying you have to do that. But start at the 150 to 200, see how your body reacts, see how your energy levels are, and then if you need and or want to push that further, you can.
Yep.
But you don't just have to immediately cut out 500 calories.
Yeah. Realistically, your fat loss should look like at most you're losing 2 pounds of body weight a week.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah.
That's a pretty accelerate. If you go higher than that, we're talking about other issues that are going to arise with that if you go higher than 2 pounds of body weight.
Yeah.
And that goes for somebody needing to lose 150 pounds. That goes for somebody needing to lose 30 pounds.
Right.
Same concept in that scenario. So if you guys want a more comprehensive episode on nutrition, which we are going to do, obviously give us some feedback here as well, because we will thoroughly set out that episode when the time comes.
Yeah.
And we will deliver it for you guys too.
And then the second point was you're probably going to have to track your food. You're going to have to get into the habit because you have to know how much you're intaking, doing things like in-body scans because they're pretty resourceful, especially if you're here in St. Louis, go to your nearest S2, because you can get it done for free there. But you need to know what your BMR is at, and then you need to know how many calories you're intaking a day so you know what to go down to, okay? All right, that is part 1 of Summer Prep Training. Episode 198. As always, we have our question that's submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. We have a few different quick ways that we want you to submit those to us. You can DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. You can also DM them to us individually. You can text them to us as well. You can email them to us, untappedllp@gmail.com. That is also in our Instagram and Facebook bios. You can just click that, send an email over. And then finally, you can leave them in the comments of any of our social media posts. We are active on all the major platforms, so leave them in the comments there. They can be about anything, health and fitness related, current event related, funny, doesn't really matter. They all get sent over to Money Mitch. And then, like right now, at the end of the episode, Money Mitch will ask the Q&A question.
How would you structure a year-long program to prepare yourself and feel confident in your body based on the seasons?
Good question.
It is a good question.
In-depth question, too.
Very good question.
Yeah, it's very solid. A year-long program, which, by the way, is actually what you would consider a macro cycle in training. Actually, I guess that would be technically a mesocycle.
I was going to say, is that a meso?
Excuse me, that's a meso. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's meso, macro, micro.
Yeah.
Micro is literally week to week, essentially,
right.
while macros are like 8-week splits or truthfully as high as 16-week.
I was going to say, it could be quarterly.
It could be, yeah. That's usually a lot of times we structure clients between the 4 to 6 week range, give or take. That usually works best for most people when it comes to macro cycles. But mesocycle, as of what Mitchell just delivered to us with that question there, is a mesocycle, which is a year-long program, which, by the way, if you're really dedicated to training, that's what you really want to be doing.
For sure.
That's good stuff, especially if you're training for a real goal, like an Ironman or a marathon or something like that.
It's fun, too, because you have different goals throughout the year. It keeps it interesting, keeps you disciplined working towards something throughout the entirety of a year.
Like, and you're able to address a lot of weaknesses within a year, too. A lot of weaknesses.
Yes.
I mean, if you're really trying to structure that, again, we'll try to keep it as simple as possible. A year-long program, you're looking at, again, this is going to be completely goal dependent, truthfully. There's going to have to be like an ease-in phase for the first 4 weeks. For example, let's say somebody, let's assume in this case, somebody needs to just kind of get their feet under them a little bit. They've had, decent training experience in the past to some degree, but they don't really have that much experience. That first 4 weeks is probably going to be like a foundational phase, more than likely. And then from that point on, you can go to the strength gain phases. You can go to the cardio emphasis phases throughout that as well. Again, if we're being honest, like if we're looking like for performance phases, we're probably going to look between 12 to 16 weeks. Since we're over an entire year here,
right,
we're going to start breaking it down by 12 to 16 weeks instead of the 8-week or 4-week mark here for sure. Now, granted, as coaches, you and I would also sit here and say we're going to tweak necessary things within those 12 to 16 weeks for sure. It's not going to be the exact same day every single time because you want somebody to be able to see improvement with different things as well within those 12 to 16 weeks. So, I mean, definitely, if you're somebody general population we're talking about here, I would highly recommend a 12 to 16 week, strength gain phase. I would also recommend a 12 to 16 week muscle gain primarily phase. Now, again, those aren't going to change that much, depending on what you have access to, of course, depending on your gym. If your gym has everything, then, oh gosh, we got a lot to work with there, which is awesome.
We're about to have some fun.
That's like our like, oh, this is bread and butter here. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it.
Right.
But yeah, I would definitely say like you need to have, strength focus phases because strength is always good. It means more bone density, all that stuff that comes along with it too. Better longevity, ability to do daily activities. A muscle gain phase, you're going to look good, which all clients want that for sure. Which truthfully, again, like general population client, you're probably starting with the muscle size phase and the muscle gain phase. Yeah. And then you're going into strength and whatnot that comes along with it too. Because 12 to 16 weeks, you can put on some pretty comprehensive muscle during that type of phase. And then the rest of the year, they can decide if we want to go back to one or if we want to go into the fat loss phase or if we want to go into the muscle gain phase again and just start stacking on size more. Okay, cool. Yeah. So it definitely is like this question's somewhat difficult because it can be dependent.
Well, yeah,
on who's listen. So yeah.
Well, it's not that it can be dependent. It is extremely dependent on what the person wants, what the goals actually are from January 1st to December 31st. There's a lot that can happen in that time period. But I agree with you, like breaking it down, eventually getting to the point of being able to break it down quarterly or nearly quarterly is going to be the way to get the best results possible. And throughout those quarters, each phase is and has to look different for all the reasons you just laid out. Because if you're someone that is completely untrained, you basically have no foundation. So that's exactly why you would start with a 4 to 6, maybe even 8-week foundational program. Like, hey, we're going to keep this pretty simple. We're going to get you into the habit of going to the gym and following a workout, following a plan, understanding why you're following this plan. And once we're through that initial phase, not that the first phase won't be fun, but once you're through that, then the real fun can start because that is really where you will start to see noticeable differences physically, and mentally for that matter, because as you're going through a foundational phase, again, you're just getting in the habits of things. You're getting into the habit of getting to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. You're getting into the habit of, eating correct foods and eating the correct amounts of foods. having a balance between good food and still having your cheat meals and your snacks and things like that when you want them. Maybe you're getting into the habit of taking some supplements. You know, maybe you're starting creatine, or you're getting in the habit of taking some post-workout protein, or whatever it might be, you know, whatever the case is. And then once you're through that, like, you can go through the entire year of kind of the ebbs and flows of a long-term plan. And you can look at your pictures from January 1 and compare that to December 31st. You're going to look like a different person. You're going to feel like a different person. And you're going to be extremely confident in yourself if you stick through an entire year-long program. Because as you said, as we've both said, like, a lot can. And as long as you're also doing your job as the client, a lot will happen. And it's pretty cool to see.
100%.
Yeah.
And again, guys, just because he's saying January 1st, December 31st.
Correct.
Like, to be clear, you can do a year-long phase. That's April 14th until next April 14th.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, this is not limited to just that. And I would hope,
of course,
I think our listeners are smart enough to.
I would hope so.
I would hope so for sure. Glean that from this. I would hope so for sure.
Yeah.
Because that one the client I started with about a little bit over 4 weeks ago now, like, we're starting that early phase now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be a fat loss phase right now, like I told you.
Yeah.
Like, it's, again, you're talking about a 120 to 140 pound guy that we're talking about. You're not starting with the fat loss phase.
Yeah.
But it's goal dependent.
I've been doing the exact same thing, different starting point, but nearly the exact same thing with one of our online clients, like on the app. Like, it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing.
100%.
So, all right, guys, that is episode 198. Please, as always, share the show. It helps us tremendously. It gets our names out there, gets the word out there. Text it around to your friends and family. I don't think we have any announcements right now. Sign up for the email newsletter. It's in our beacons, which is in our Instagram bio.
Yep. Men's workouts are every 2 weeks, essentially, is the goal, but two times a month.
Our next one, though. As far as our regular schedule, because
regular
of episode
schedule.
200.
Yeah.
But yeah, be on the lookout here soon for the announcement for our next men's event for sure.
Yep. And those, obviously, again, if you're interested in the Facebook men's group, we have a little bit of a gap between men's workouts in person. Then hit us up for the Facebook men's group.
Absolutely.
Aspect of that as well.
All right, guys. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.